In the 1960s, not everyone had a camera. Our GPS was the sun. We would look straight up at it and we would tell how old we all were by how further our blindness had gotten. All music was amazing. Not a single recording bad. Everything groundbreaking. Everyone used drugs responsibly and there were no side effects. Also, everyone was happy and treated each other as equals. Okay, let's stop right there. It's David Holzman's diary. Here, I'll just give this to you before we get started. David Holzman's Diary is a faux documentary from 1967, what the kids might refer to as meta-cinema. I would refer to it as museum core, letterboxed core, palm decor, and that's because it's a film about film, and no one loves films about films as much as the filmers who are filming the film's film. Hey, it even made the Library of Congress's film preservation list, but so did this, so it's... The movie was directed by Jim McBride. He's done some work here and there since, like the remake of Breathless. He's done some movies with Dennis Quaid, and he's done some work on 6 Feet Under. And David Holtzman is played by L.M. Kit Harrison, who's done some more acting, but also some writing over the years. He co-wrote Paris, Texas. He wrote Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Okay, I made that last one up. And for a while there, he was married to Karen Black. And the plot is very simple. David Holtzman films himself and his circle of acquaintances and hopes to find some meaning in it all. Of course, filming yourself and all your acquaintances and hoping to find some meaning, that sounds like...
Insert social media platform here.
Internet bad, and I hate my wife. And so the actual movie is presented as if this is a film that was put together by this character, David Holtzman, him talking to the camera, him filming his friends and his girlfriend. And in what's probably one of the best scenes in the movie, he films his friend over at his friend's apartment, and he's trying to convince him, this movie is not a good idea, and it's not going to be good, and you're not a very interesting subject for a movie. I'm interesting. And as hilariously smug as this guy is, he's right, you know. Once you turn on a camera, people feel obligated to start acting differently, and it's no longer real life. Except for me. I mean, I always sit around and stare straight ahead and talk to myself about movies. That scene is also kind of the centerpiece of the movie. It's the most concise thesis of the movie, you know, it's this reality versus fakeness, authenticity versus pretense. And you gotta remember, while this movie is a charming little curio now, it was pretty groundbreaking for its time because obviously not everybody had a camera, and even more so, not everybody had access to put it out on a platform for everyone to see. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that bell so that you get notifications every time I drop a new... So I will say, I quite liked this movie. I vividly remember a lot of scenes in this movie, and that's almost always a good sign. If I have any real criticism that I can think of for this movie, for sure, it's that don't say that it's not real, just let it go. There's definitely some scenes that go on a little too long and get too indulgent, but it could kind of be explained away with the critic-proof excuse of, well, it's a very misguided film student trying to make a movie. And even when it does get a bit indulgent, it's still just like, well, at least we're getting a nice, colorful representation of the Upper West Side of New York in the mid-1960s. There's a very striking scene, probably my favorite of the movie, where he's like filming 1 second of TV footage every minute. So it's just this like incredibly quick, like seizure-inducing montage. It's often quite funny too. I love this scene where this woman just pulls over on the side of the road and is blocking traffic just to talk to this random stranger. And at one point it sort of gets into an argument with an old man, and she goes, "Look at him. I bet she's a lesbian." I think this movie may come off as boring to some, but I just went into it blind. It was just on Canopy. I read the description, I started watching it, and I became really enthralled as it went on, and I wanted to know what was happening, and I really liked it. I thought it was funny, I thought it was very inventive, I think it was very ahead of its time, I think it's pretty important. And it's just funny, you know? I mean, who would think filming themselves day in and day out, talking to a camera, wouldn't be the work of some arrogant megalomaniac who just wants to stay sexy?